Coming up, a breakthrough on Syria. After 14 hours at the negotiating table, Russia and the United States unveil a plan for working towards peace in the country. Getting the hump over Trump. There's media outrage across the US over the Republican presidential candidate's interview with Larry King on this channel. Head to the Danish school comes under fire after introducing ethnic quotas for its classes now in order to try to allay parents' concerns and to retain students. Plus, revealing Edward Snowden's first weeks in hiding after he leaked American intelligence data in 2013. Coming up, we talk exclusively with one of his former lawyers. Hi, I'm Kevin Owen. Thanks for watching. Wherever you're tuned in around the world, it's just past 3 p.m. this Saturday afternoon here at RTHQ in Moscow now. Top story, after marathon talks, Russia and the US have agreed on a breakthrough deal for war-torn Syria. The new plan includes a ban on government airstrikes in specified opposition-held areas, also a nationwide ceasefire set to begin at sunset on Monday, and if it holds, the US and Russia will then join forces to target terrorists in the country.
We believe that the plan, as it is set forth, if implemented, if followed, has the ability to provide a turning point, a moment of change.
The two top diplomats were locked in negotiations, as we were saying, them for 14 hours to get this far, beating their own record for bilateral talks previously. That agreement was delayed along the way because Kerry wanted to consult constantly with officials in Washington on each and every step of the process. That kind of workload's tough on an empty stomach, on a lighter note, on the sidelines. So, the US Secretary of State ordered some pizza for Sergei Lavrov and the exhausted Russian delegation. Mr. Lavrov then brought it out to the waiting hungry journalist too, teasingly asked then for a Russian drink to wash it down with.
Where's the vodka?
And the foreign minister was happy to oblige.
Pizza from the American delegation. This is from the Russians.
So they ended up with a meal of American pizza and Russian vodka, which the reporters seems really too keen to tuck into. With more on the results of the serious negotiations, though, here's Daniel Hawkins.
If this plan is implemented, it will be the first time that Washington and Moscow jointly target and jointly cooperate on targeting terrorist groups in Syria in that conflict, overcoming months and months, years in fact, of distrust, and truly, as Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov put it, a beginning of some new relations. There's been some political weight thrown behind this truce as well by other politicians, the EU's top diplomat Federica Mogherini, UK Foreign Secretary Boris Johnson, the Turkish Foreign Minister, all getting behind it. The German Foreign Minister also stating that all parties should abide by the conditions set out in this peace agreement. That sentiment has been echoed by the Norwegian Foreign Minister, also stating that this could decrease significantly the violence in the country and promote a long-term viable political peace process. One opposition group has already expressed hope that humanitarian issues across the whole country could be solved should this truce hold. Of course, aid reaching those areas is a key caveat of that truce, and there is now hope that that could happen across the whole of Syria. It's not all rosy, though, of course. There are some significant challenges to overcome here. There is a whole myriad of opposition and other groups in Syria which are likely to try to undermine this truce. Interestingly, Kerry also referred to the choice that is faced in Syria. Out of all the complexities, he said the choice now stands between war and peace, quite black and white, given Washington's earlier position that Assad must go, that they will not negotiate with the Syrian government, that he must go before any processes are discussed. But of course, before that takes place, as Lavrov said, is vital for aid deliveries to take place, and also vital for Russia and the US to separate the different groups. Let's take a listen.
Также мы получаем угрозы
Opposition forces who are holding Aleppo keep threatening the humanitarian convoys. I would remind you that a humanitarian convoy was already prepared last time John and I met here on August 26. The UN was ready, the Syrian government was ready, but the opposition said that any convoy that takes the Castella Road will be shot at. Their attitude to our plans remains unchanged.
So certainly a big step forward here. It remains to be seen what happens over the next 7 days, whether that crucial joint task centre is set up or not.
Yeah, Daniel Hawkins there. That is Lizzie Phelan's in war-ravaged Syria at the moment. She's been following the fate of a Kurdish neighbourhood in Aleppo, which has now tragically lost its last senior medic.
In the early stages of the war, the only 2 hospitals in the Sheikh Maqsoud area of Aleppo were ransacked and are now shut down. Earlier this week, the community also lost its last surgeon, who specialised in treating children. Dr. Shahed was travelling from his clinic here to the neighbourhood's only makeshift hospital to help civilians that had been hit by shelling. On the way, he himself was fatally hit by a rocket fired from the rebel-held Kafr Hamra neighbourhood in that direction. Now, as well as being the last surgeon here, he was also this neighbourhood's most experienced doctor, and his death is felt by everyone in this tight-knit community. Dr. Shahed's remaining colleagues number just 3, 2 general doctors and 1 who describes himself tongue-in-cheek as a semi-doctor, as like most of the area's medical volunteers, he was trained by Dr. Shahed himself.
February and April of 2016 were the worst periods for Sheikh Maqsoud. We were attacked thousands of times with many different shells. According to my statistics, we had almost 800 dead and injured civilians, and the neighbourhood was largely destroyed.
We met Dr. Shahed's wife and only son just a day after his death. Remarkably composed, Mayada said he was driven by his love for civilians innocently trapped in the middle of this brutal war.
He died because they caught him to the medical center as people needed his help in the shelling. So he went to try and save their lives, but he was killed. He was always helping people. Wherever he worked and whoever he met, people loved him. Since his death, I've received so many calls from the Doctors' Union in Aleppo, who all spoke about what a great doctor my husband was.
I'm so proud I'm the son of a martyr. Thank God my father is a martyr. I thank everyone who's been with us and who continues to help us. I'm so proud. I can't talk.
He was my everything. I feel empty without him. I lost a very valuable person to me. I can't tell you the sorrow I feel from losing him. He was my husband and my whole family.
His colleagues say a large proportion of the victims of shelling and sniper attacks are children, making the hardship felt by the loss of Dr. Shahed, a specialist in pediatric surgery, even more acute. One of his last patients was 15-year-old Berfin, who was shot by a sniper in her leg on her way home.
I remember when they brought me here and I was hurt, how he joked and laughed with me so I wouldn't feel the pain.
Rashid wishes to keep his father's legacy alive, the legacy of a man who refused to abandon his community and gave them everything he had until his dying day.
I will carry out my father's wishes and become a doctor. And if God allows me, I will be an even better doctor than him.
This is our homeland. We are not afraid of their snipers, mortars. Whatever happens, we will stay here.
Lizzie Phelan, RT, Aleppo.